For joining me. It's great to have you back again with another great single. How do you feel to have it out there and what's the reaction been like?
I'm really excited to have it out. I've been working on this song for a really long time. So far the reaction's been really great. We've landed some editorial stuff and it's had a great reaction from Apple Music and Spotify and streaming stuff, and people have been loving it and really enjoying it. So I'm like so happy with how it's been going. It's been really fun as well.
Yeah, and it's great to hear that it's getting like lots of attention as well. Because like we caught up with you last year, and it sounds like you've made a lot of great progress since then as well.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, one of the main things being you had your first festival debut earlier this year. So tell me, like, how did that opportunity come about? How did it feel?
I've been talking to Bianca from Renegade. She's been getting my name out there, it's been super amazing. And I've been talking to her about how much I've been really like keen on performing and I would love to do a festival. And she booked that for me and I was so excited, and like just getting that opportunity and that day was just like the most amazing thing that I've ever done. It was so much fun. It was a stinking hot day, but it was just like the best experience to be up there and just like be performing with some of like my favorite artists as well, and just getting an opportunity that a lot of big artists have had in the past. I was so honored and like so excited, and yeah, I was really overwhelmed and like I just loved the experience. It was just amazing.
And being your first festival opportunity, like now that you've had that experience, is there anything that you would have done differently or anything that you'll try again if you get the opportunity again?
I'm workshopping a different sort of band lineup because at the festival I I had planned to have my band on stage, but with logistics, it didn't quite work out. So was going to perform with a DJ, and that also fell through. So it was a bit of a last minute sort of trying to pull something together to make it work, with just things breaking down. But it all came together and it was all wonderful. But I think for future festivals and performances, I just want to have my full lineup behind me. And then I've also got like some dances that I'm going to have for future performances as well. So it's going to be a whole performance, a whole like show. It's going to be really exciting. And I feel like that performance and that whole experience really opened my eyes to what I can do differently and what I can add and how I can make it more interesting, because that's always something to be thinking about when you're on stage. Like, how can you engage the audience a little bit more? Yeah.
Yeah, sounds incredible. Like we're so happy to hear that you've had that opportunity and that you've obviously got dances planned and more stuff in the works as well.
Yeah, I'm super excited. My best friend who's in Sydney is going to be one of my dancers, and I wrote a song about her. The song Sky that I wrote is about her. So I'm really excited that I'm going to potentially be able to share the stage with her at some point, which is going to be awesome.
Sounds exciting. Yeah,
Yeah.
Bubbles, been out for about a week now, and so people have had a chance to listen to it. Can you tell us a bit about the inspiration behind it and what this release means for you?
I think I wanted to write a song that was just a bit more happy and uplifting. I feel like a lot of my previous songs have been like there's a full-on story behind it, or there's a like a deep message and something like that. And as wonderful as that is, and I love writing songs about that, I just wanted to do something that was a little bit more, light and happy and, bubbly and uplifting. So I think that's where the inspiration came from. And I wanted to write something that was a bit lyrically interesting. So some of the lyrics in Bubble, I think, are a bit more fun and a bit more well thought than perhaps some of my older songs. And this song musically was really inspired by some of my favorite artists at the moment, like Olivia Dean and like Remy Wolf. I think they have really cool style and really smart writing at the moment. So like that sort of vibe is what I was going for. And I love that I went from like this like cool, pretty fun sound to like this glitchy, like rocky almost sound in the bridge. I thought that was really fun. And I don't feel like people mesh genres together very often. So I thought that'd be like a fun way to make the song a bit more interesting. And it was weird because the bridge was also supposed to be like the chorus at one point. So we were just trying to work out how everything was going to get pieced together. And it was one of those songs. It was like I had this concept and I really want to make this a song, but like this isn't quite working. Let's try something else. But I think that's good because I used to get quite bogged down if I couldn't think of like a way to make the song work. I'd just throw it away. I'd like, nah, this song's not going to work anymore. But I really had a lot of hope in the song and like the concept and stuff. So I wanted to push it through. And I think that what we came up with at the end was definitely the best it could have been, like the best version of the song. So I'm really happy with it.
Yeah, and I like what you mentioned about merging the different genres as well, because that's what gives it the uniqueness. And how do you how did you balance mixing the two different genres together?
I think the bridge is very like stuff that I've done maybe like a year ago, and then like the rest of the song is very like my recent sort of stuff. So it's definitely not stuff that my audience hasn't heard before, but it's still, I think it's different enough that it's interesting and like brings like a uniqueness to the song, but it's also like not too far that it just doesn't make sense. So, and I think it sort of blends nicely into the last chorus where they sort of get meshed together. So, yeah, and I really like it. I think it was my favorite part of the song, was like my feature point, but I also knew that I couldn't like use just the bridge to promote the song, because if I used the bridge to promote the song, then like you listen to the start of the song and you're like, is this the same song? So, but the bridge is definitely my favorite part.
Yeah, you don't want to give too much away, but I get what you mean, because like I've heard when people release the bridges before, which is a completely different sound, then they release like the first verse, and it's like, how does that then turn into this?
Yeah, exactly.
And my understanding is that you're also using this release to share that you had an ASD diagnosis. And I understand that you hid that for a while. So tell me a bit about that and why you feel like now is the right time to share that with your fans.
I think I wanted to make a bit of a resolution to myself this year to not hide who I am. I think I wanted to use ASD as more of a superpower instead of something that should be like feared and whatever. Like I feel like I have a really good group of close people who don't judge me, and I think they've really pulled me out of my shell, and they are understanding and they're kind, and I think that's really helped me. But I think if I was to grow as a musician and it came out that I had ASD, and I've had ASD this whole time, I wouldn't want people to think that I was ever hiding it. So I don't, I think now is a good time to just make people aware, make sure people are understanding that it's not something that needs to be hidden. I think there's a bit of a stigma around ASD. So just showing that there's different sides of how people deal with it, there's different sides of how it may look, and just being a bit of a voice for it and just enlightening people. And hopefully if someone else has ASD and wants to be a musician, they can relate to me and then be inspired and see that there are things that can come from it. There are successes that can come from it. Like you can still be a musician and do all those sort of things. So I'm trying to inspire and show people not to hide their diagnosis, and just, yeah, that's the vibe.
That's great. And even just doing that, it shows other musicians that might also have the diagnosis to let them know that it's okay too. They don't have to hide it if, they're putting out their first piece of art as well.
Definitely.
Because you mentioned that you want to be the voice for it and you do a lot of advocating. So tell me some ways that you do that. Is that like through your music, through your social media? Like how do you hope you connect with other like artists that also have ASD?
I think just making people aware without necessarily like, I don't want to like shove it down anyone's throat, because I still want to like be me. And I think that was the fear of making people aware of it, was that I didn't want people to put me in a box. So I think just showing people now that they have my personality and they know that who I am, and then, oh, she's also has ASD. I think that's the best way that I could have gone about it. I just want to still like be me and have ASD and just make people aware of the fact that I have that, and perhaps down the road I can talk more deeply about how I cope with things, how things affect me in different ways. But I think right now the like step of just telling people and making people aware is probably the best thing I could do for my audience and for people who might also be struggling with ASD. I know I've had a few messages from people saying I've also got ASD, and it was just really nice to hear, because I've like spoken about it in the last couple of days. Nice to hear about your story and your situation and things like that. Just like having not like just having people's stories that aren't necessarily like the harder side of ASD or like the higher need side of ASD, and just having the whole circle of what it could be, and just making people aware of the whole circle that it could be, I think is a really good thing to be doing. And yeah, just enlightening people.
Yeah, and it's so nice to hear that people, have reached out and resonated with just your strength by sharing your story as well. And I've got like a couple of friends that have ASD, and I know like what you mentioned before about using it as a superpower. They really hone into that superpower to use it to be creative. Obviously, you're creative, so how does it shape your songwriting, your creative process?
I think with my ASD, I tend to hyperfixate on things. I and that can be a bad thing sometimes, but I love when I've got an idea, and I tend to write songs like in a day or in 2 days, and then if it's not exactly what I want, normally I'll just kick it to the curb or I'll stick with it. But I think my superpower is just being super driven to get something done, and like I can be insanely focused on it in that moment. And then I think I'm also very in that way, like musically, I feel like I'm more creative. I don't know. Yeah, I might be still creative if I hadn't had ASD, but I think from what I've seen, people with ASD tend to have that extra little creativity box that they can dip into. So I think in that way, I think music, I feel very deeply when I hear music that resonates with me. So when I make music that resonates with me, it's just a really, really good feeling for me. So that's my superpower, I think.
Yeah, and it works, 'cause as you said, like, it comes with better outcomes because you really hyper focus into your work. It's music, you're putting out music that resonates not only with yourself, but other people as well.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, so looking ahead at the rest of the year, like, what do you have planned? Do you have any more music coming out? Do you have any live performances? How can people support you?
I do. I have some more singles coming out, which I'm really excited for. I've just finished recording another single and I'm obsessed. I really, really love this song that I'm working on at the moment. I have some gigs lined up before so I'm planning on leaving to go to London for a while,
Nice.
yeah, for about a year, just to continue my career and work on stuff. And then I'll come back to Australia whenever opportunities present themselves. And yeah, so I was gonna say I won't be too far away, but I will be the furthest away I can probably be for a little while. And yeah, so I've got some gigs lined up before we go there in August. And then I'm just gonna keep pushing music over there and see how things go, and then we'll see where I am this time next year.
Yeah, and I think you're about the third person I've heard that's making the move from Australia to London. So, like, why London? What's in London for all the musicians at the moment?
There's a lot of opportunities from what I've seen music wise. The gig scene looks really cool. That as amazing as it is in Adelaide, it's just like an elevated version. I'm also planning on teaching over there because I'm now a fully qualified teacher, which was what I was studying last year for that, so I finished that. And yeah, so I'm gonna be just seeing what opportunities are over there. I want to travel because I missed out on a lot of that because of COVID. So I want to make sure that I get a chance to do that while I'm still, youngish. So yeah.
Sounds like a great opportunity for more inspiration and new music as well, like just making that whole transition. And yeah, London's so different to Australia.
Yeah, definitely. I'm so excited.
Yeah, so that's all my questions. Did you have any other comments you want to add about this release or anything else you want people to know about your music journey?
Just please stream my music and enjoy.
Yeah, well, thank you so much. And yeah, all the best for London. We look forward to seeing what you get up to and, hearing what comes out of the newfound inspiration.
Beautiful. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you. Bye.
See ya.